What's up guys, today's video is on the Jvc Dla Np5 Projector Review 2023. The Dla Np5 is Jvc's most affordable D-ILA projector for 2022, and with Jvc's cheapest laser D-ILA models setting you back well into 5 figures. We have a funny feeling that interest in the lamp-based Np5 could be seriously high, especially now that the COVID years have given us all a whole new appreciation of the value of a high-quality home entertainment system. Design. The word that best describes the Dla Np5 is brute. It really is a substantial thing. Half a meter wide by nearly half a meter deep, and perhaps most strikingly of all, a seriously chunky 23 centimeters tall. Its bulk establishes right away that despite its entry-level position, this is still very much a serious home cinema projector likely to find its way into a dedicated cinema room rather than a living room. It's not unattractive for all its heftiness, though, thanks to its rounded corners, impressively heavy-duty finish, and large, centrally mounted lens. It's just not living room levels of attractive. The Np5 is the only model in Jvc's 2023 D-ILA range to be available in white or black color options. Features. The Dla Np5 is built around Jvc's D-ILA optical system. This Jvc exclusive variant of liquid crystal on silicon technology has been renowned for years now for its ability to deliver black levels that other projector technologies still can't match today. We're talking native black levels here, too, as in, the class-leading black levels in contrast are achieved without needing help from the sorts of brightness-adjusting dynamic iris systems other projector systems have to depend on. There are no moving elements involved with D-ILA technology either, so you don't have to worry about things such as rainbow effect RGB striping or fizzing noise. Despite the Np5 being Jvc's new entry-level D-ILA projector, it still retains a native 4 Kelvin resolution. Thankfully, there's no slip back to Jvc's oldie shift pseudo 4 Kelvin technology. The N5S lamp is powerful enough to deliver a claimed 1900 lumens of peak brightness, a decent amount for a lamp-based model that's as interested in contrast as it is brightness. That native contrast is in this case claimed to be an exceptional 40,001, which rises to an extraordinary 400,001 if you deploy the Projector'S excellent dynamic contrast ratio feature. The Np5 boasts a pretty high-quality lens arrangement for Jvc's entry-level D-ILA option. Its 17-element, 15-group, all-glass 65mm design should certainly help the projector deliver well on its native 4 Kelvin pixel count. The N5S HDR support is a cut above the projector norm, too. There's the HDR10 handling that any HDR-capable device must provide, but also support for both the HLG format often used for live broadcast and HDR10+, the active form of HDR10 that adds extra scene-by-scene source picture information to the HDR stream to help compatible displays deliver more accurate results. Also key to the N5S talents are its Frame Adapt HDR and Theater Optimizer feature, which transformed Jvc's D-ILA HDR projection performance overnight when they were introduced last year. These essentially add up to a dynamic tone mapping system that can study every incoming HDR frame or scene and optimize it to the projector's capabilities. This includes improving gamma accuracy from 12 to 18 bits and crucially transforms the brightness the Np5 can pump out. Another rare talent sported by the Dla Np5 is support over both of its 48 Gbps bandwidth HDMI 2.1 ports for the 4 Kelvin graphics at 120 Hz refresh rates now available from the PS5 and Xbox Series X games consoles, as well as the latest premium PC graphics cards. This rare 4 Kelvin divided by 120 support is backed up by a decently low 36 ms input lag measurement when using the projector's low latency mode. There's no support for variable refresh rates, but the 4 Kelvin divided by 120 Hz support really is a treat in itself by the standards of the current projector world. The N5S other connections include an RS-232°C control port, a LAN port, a 12V trigger port, and a 3D sync port. The 3D sync port, of course, alerts you to the fact that while TVs may have long given up on 3D playback, it's still alive and kicking in the projector world. Setting the Np5 up is incredibly easy thanks to its provision of totally motorized zoom, focus, and image shift adjustments. Picture. Let's get the extremely limited amount of bad news about the N5S picture performance out of the way first, starting with the simple fact that it doesn't manage to get as bright for HDR playback as Jvc's laser models. If you want to put a number on this, Jvc itself quotes 300 lumens more for the step-up laser-toting NZ7 than the 1900 lumens the Np5 can deliver. The extra brightness also unlocks a slightly wider color range performance on Jvc's laser model, while their 8 Kelvin E-shift technology gives a smoother finish with slightly more pristine-looking curved and diagonal lines. Looked at more fairly on its own merits, though, rather than considered against its massively more expensive laser siblings. Pretty much the only picture quality negative we can come up with is an occasional slightly patchy look to skin tones. Otherwise, it's all good. Seriously good. For starters, the NP5 lives up to D-ILA's reputation for excellent contrast and black level. Even the darkest parts of the darkest pictures are delivered with rich, deep, natural black colors far less troubled by grayness or inconsistency than they are on any other projector in its class, or the vast majority of projectors in much higher classes. Come to that. The excellent black levels also help make dark scenes look every bit as convincing, detailed, and full of depth and subtlety as bright scenes, even when showing the most high-contrast HDR images. Talking of contrast, the Dla Np5's outstanding delivery of dark picture content also helps it get impressive impact from its 1900 lumens of brightness, especially if you activate its frame-adapt HDR and theater optimizer dynamic tone mapping features, which add much more punch to the projector's HDR presentation without seemingly doing any damage to proceedings. The N5's tone mapping delivers its extra brightness, too, without usually leaving colors looking thinner. In fact, while just occasionally a really peak bright color can look a touch more washed out than it does with the dynamic tone mapping features off, for the most part colors actually look more radiant and boldly saturated with tone mapping on, representing a much fuller sense of the wide color gamuts associated with HDR pictures than Jvc projectors did before the dynamic tone mapping software rolled into town. It's actually pretty amazing to see how much of a difference to a lamp-based version of Jvc's established D-ILA projection technology new image processing can make. But we're certainly not complaining. Despite the extra richness and punch of the N5's color, the projector's processing is good enough to ensure that even the finest and subtlest color blends are rendered without striping interference or any flaring out of bright details. Even pure white elements of HDR pictures tend to keep all their shading. Once you finally manage to stop ogling the N5's black levels and contrast, you start to lap up the sharpness and detail of its 4 Kelvin pictures instead. There's a superior sense of fine detail and a generally crisper look with native 4 Kelvin sources than there was with Jvc's old E-shift pseudo 4 Kelvin projectors. The clarity holds up fantastically well during action scenes, too, thanks to impressively natural motion handling with 24p movie sources that retains a cinematic feel without adding any distracting hardware judder to the presentation. The default setting of Jvc's motion processing tends to leave the picture looking a little too smooth, but at least it doesn't generate many distracting side effects. In any case, though, we don't think many users will feel the need to leave the feature on. The N5's sharpness is delivered, too, without any sense of over-sharpening or exaggeration of grain or other noise. The NP5 both upscales HD content to 4 Kelvin beautifully and delivers standard dynamic range content with all the exceptional subtlety and purity we've now come to expect from Jvc's ultra-refined D-ILA engine. Add to all this the absence of really any sort of picture noise together with a remarkably quiet lamp cooling system for such a bright projector, and you've got the most all-round immersive and cinematic projector we've seen before you get to 5 figures. Pros: outstanding contrast, excellent HDR playback, 4 Kelvin divided by 120 Hz support. Cons: expensive for a lamp projector, no VRR support. Verdict: don't be put off by the Dla Np5's lack of laser lighting. Yes, you will likely have to change a bulb or two during your time with it, but the rewards for this occasional bit of maintenance are consistently gorgeous all-round picture quality, at a fraction of the price you'd need to pay for one of Jvc's laser models. Thanks for watching. If you liked the video, please hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and if you have something to say, please leave a comment.